Tonight on Duck TV News, learn about a new way to park on campus.
And hear how a local organization is creating youth housing in Eugene.
Good evening and welcome to Duck TV News. I'm Bailey Mulder.
And I'm Taylor Fritz. Here are tonight's top stories.
A local organization has begun a project to help vulnerable youth in Lane County. Ashana Maloku has the story.
Here in Eugene, for the first time ever in Oregon, St. Vincent de Paul, a local nonprofit organization, is creating a youth housing project. A recent federal grant is allowing St. Vincent's to acquire the former Presbyterian Church on Willamette Street, the site of the planned youth house. This project will provide unemancipated homeless high school students ages 16 to 18 with the secure housing and services they need to stay in school and graduate, with the core requirement that they remain in school. Paul Neville, Director of Public Relations for St. Vincent's, expresses why this project is essential for homeless women in the community.
And the reason we're doing this is we found if you can get kids over that graduation hurdle, if you get them through to graduation, it just dramatically enhances their chances of success.
This project will include a house manager, 15 efficiency apartments, kitchens, counselors for school and mental health, and more. Each resident will be assigned a mentor trained through a University of Oregon program committed to working at least a year with his or her assigned student. The goal is simple: to provide homeless high school students with the tools to significantly increase their chances of becoming successful, productive, and healthy citizens.
If you can provide these kids with a place to be that's safe, secure, and a kind of a sense of family in that place, I think it can make a difference. And for young women, it can make a huge difference in their lives.
The next challenge is to raise the nearly $1 million needed to complete the remodeling of the former church. Reporting for Duck TV, I'm Ashana.
Construction will begin in early April 2017, and the center hopes to open its doors by the fall.
The University of Oregon plans to raise tuition from 2 to 3% in order to fund a $26 million renovation of Oregon and Pacific Hall. After construction, doctorate students will be able to receive federal grants for research opportunities in the 14 new laboratories planned for the building. According to the university, those grants will help offset the cost of the building. Oregon Hall is projected to be completed by September 2018 and Pacific Hall in 2019.
Have you turned in your ballot? If so, you might have noticed Measure 95. This measure would allow public universities to invest in equities such as stocks and shares. Right now, the UO's board is a nonprofit called the UO Foundation. The UO Foundation has been under fire recently by student groups such as Divest UO for their investments in fossil fuels. Because of its private nonprofit status, the foundation isn't required to share investment information such as donors, amounts, and investments themselves. If approved, the foundation's board members would be able to spend student tuition and state money on equities as they choose. All ballots are due on November 8th.
Do you ever wish you could skip the crowds at the grocery store and shop from your living room? Well, now that Google Express is in Eugene, you can. Google Express allows you to shop from stores such as Costco, Target, Walgreens, and more. Membership isn't required, but Google will charge a delivery fee for non-member customers. And now we take it to Mitch and Courtney for all things sports.
Hello and welcome to the Sports Desk. I'm Mitch Reams.
And I'm Courtney Bodine. Tonight we will discuss volleyball, soccer, basketball, and get students' thoughts on the football team's unusual season.
Oregon football is headed down south to take on the USC Trojans this Saturday. The Ducks will look to carry their momentum from their first Pac-12 win of the season into the tough atmosphere in Los Angeles. Leading the Ducks is true freshman phenom Justin Herbert, who set a new Oregon record for total offense with 512 yards in the game against the Sun Devils. Herbert follows a long line of successful Oregon QBs. First, Oregon was blessed with Maserati Marcus, followed closely by the always reliable Volkswagen Vernon. This season started off shaky with Prius Prukup, but after the mid-season QB change, the era of Herbie Fully Loaded has begun in Eugene. Herbie will look to keep rolling against 93,000 fans at the LA Memorial Coliseum.
Football isn't the only team making a comeback this past week. The Ducks volleyball team has dominated the season, and they look to keep that alive as they head north on Friday to take on the Washington Huskies in Seattle, and then over to Pullman on Sunday to compete against Wazoo. After losing to Arizona last Friday in 5 sets, the Ducks bounced back against Arizona State, dominating 3-1. Lindsay Vanderweide led the team with 19 kills, followed closely by freshman Jolie Rasmussen with 12. Rasmussen has been a huge asset to the team and will continue to be as the season rolls on. The Ducks are now 15-6 overall and 8-4 in conference play.
The women's basketball team kicked off its season with a dominating 89-36 win over Northwest Christian last Saturday in an exhibition game. Head coach Kelly Graves has pulled together the best recruiting class in Oregon history this past year. According to ESPN.com, the Ducks have the third best freshman class in the nation. Leading the way is USA Today Player of the Year and #1 overall guard Sabrina Ionescu. Following her, the Ducks also have All-California first-team forward Sierra Camposano and Ruthie Hebert, a member of the USA Under-18 team this past summer. When you combine all these talented freshmen with returning stars Maite Cazorla and Lexi Bando, Oregon's women's basketball team is in its best preseason spot since Graves took over as head coach.
Oregon Ducks soccer hasn't had the brightest of seasons, and with only one game remaining in the regular season, the team will need a win against the Oregon State Beavers in Eugene on Friday to keep its playoff dreams alive. The Ducks are currently ranked 36th in the RPI and 7th in the Pac-12. The Ducks lost against Washington on Thursday 2-1 and tied against Washington State on Sunday 1-1. The tie can be contributed to strong goalkeeping on both teams. Oregon's Hotlit Hendricksdottir had 7 total saves against the Cougs. Oregon State is dead last in the Pac-12, giving Oregon a possible leg up in Friday's matchup. The Ducks will need to secure a win in this matchup to help advance their playoff chances. Now we send it over to Lorna Para, who got some UO perspectives on Duck football.
Thanks, Courtney. I'm out here in front of the EMU to get Oregon students' thoughts on the football program.
I think the biggest thing is probably the offense. I think that's always what we've been known for in terms of having a high-paced, high-scoring offense, and this year it's just kind of died off.
So a lot of it's definitely defense. I mean, we're putting up offensive output, kind of, in certain games, but when we give up, 70 points to Washington, we can't win.
I don't feel like he should be fired because I'm very optimistic. He's been a great coach in the past.
No, because he's done well in the past.
Yeah, definitely. He hasn't performed like a coach should. He has made some very, very questionable calls this season.
We're young. You have to look at, we have a freshman quarterback. We have all freshman offensive linemen.
I think with a freshman quarterback, it's a lot easier to look on the bright side and see that he has 3 more years to grow and progress as a player. Versus having a senior quarterback and getting our asses kicked.
Students' opinions are pretty varied across the campus. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Lorna. Sounds like our football team has some mixed reviews.
They certainly are. We'll see how far Herbie Fully Loaded can take the Ducks. Now, we toss it to Taya Bowling for this week's Triple Threat. Taya?
Thanks, Mitch. For today's Triple Threat, we will look at volleyball's Taylor August, basketball's Sabrina Ionescu, and football's Farrah Brown. First up is junior outside hitter Taylor August, who has been on a hot streak this season with a .337 hitting average. In her last game against Arizona State, she hit .263. In the Ducks game against Arizona, August had 13 kills along with 5 digs. She is a key player for the team, and Oregon will be counting on her production from the outside. Next is basketball's Sabrina Ionescu. After being announced as USA Today's Player of the Year in 2015, she is coming into her freshman year as one of Oregon's most talented young guards. In her first game against Northwest Christian, Ionescu finished with 8 assists, including 4 straight to Lexi Bando. This combination should prove to be a powerhouse for Oregon's offense this year. Last, we have football's Farrah Brown, who had an incredible game on Saturday against Arizona State with 129 receiving yards and 2 touchdowns. This is Brown's career high in receiving yards, which is even more impressive given the fact that he missed the entire 2015 season due to a severe leg injury that almost ended in amputation. Brown's career high game could be the confidence boost the Ducks need as they head into next week's game against USC. That's all for this week's Triple Threat. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thank you, Taya. Farrah Brown's story is absolutely incredible.
Some things are more important than win-loss records, and this is definitely one of those things.
I completely agree. That wraps up tonight's sports segment. Follow us on Twitter at DuckTV Sports.
And check out our website for articles, game coverages, and more. Taylor, Bailey, back to you guys at the news desk.
Thanks, Courtney. The Jordan Schnitzer Museum of Art is hosting an exhibit featuring works created by University of Oregon student athletes. These students are part of a special program called the Art of the Athlete. Students in this program take art classes over the summer where they learn different techniques such as painting, photo transfer, and mixed media sculpture. Lisa A.B.S. Smith, the program's founder, said she created the program to give students a voice to tell their own story. The art is a look at a different side of the athletes' personalities and gives them a chance to be seen as more than just an athlete. The exhibit will run through January 29th.
The university has made some changes to the parking meters. Reporter Wendy Jones has more.
If you're like me and never have change when you park, then you're in luck. Here at the University of Oregon, there is a new app to solve your problem. Park Mobile will not only pay for parking, it will also alert you when your meter needs to be fed.
The app Park Mobile allows drivers to pay for parking online. It also allows you to add time to a meter and even helps you find your car even if you forget where you parked. I talked to Kelly McIver, Director of Strategic Engagement and Communication, to talk more about the app.
Well, hopefully it'll just make things a little bit easier for people. It'll be another option that people can use to make things simple. Again, obviously these days not as many people are carrying around spare change to be able to plunk into parking meters.
This app is beneficial for drivers who have disabilities. They no longer have to physically visit a pay kiosk, and they may use this app at an ADA designated space in the UO permit only or pay to park lot. Claire Kelleher, student at UO, hopes that this app means she will receive fewer parking tickets.
I live off campus, so I have to drive to class every day, and so I get a lot of tickets because the meter runs out while I'm in class. So it's really nice that there's an app now because I can just pay the meter in class instead of worrying about having to leave early or something.
Park Mobile is available now for download and can be used at any UO managed parking meter. But be careful, they aren't to be confused with the meters that are managed by the City of Eugene.
This app should mean fewer tickets for students and faculty. For DuckTV News, I'm Wendy Jones.
Thanks, Wendy.
A bike share program will be launching in Eugene. The ASUO contributed $193,000 to the program, which hopes to launch 35 stations with 300 bikes within the next year. The UO will have 4 bike share stations on campus with additional stations in downtown Eugene and the Whitaker neighborhood. Thanks for joining us tonight on DuckTV News. I'm Bailey Mulder.
And I'm Taylor Fritz. Have a great night, Eugene.